This video is produced by the North Carolina Hybrid College Advising Corps program. Like and subscribe for more helpful videos.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the NC Hybrid College Advising Corps YouTube channel. Today, myself, I'm Mary Niebrick and Raquel Castro are going to be going over reviewing your financial aid award letters. So a couple of quick goals that we're going to go over. Some of the things that you should be able to do by the end of this video is that you should be able to identify your exact financial aid offered dollar amounts from the schools you have applied to and from the schools that you have applied for financial aid to as well. You should be able to identify the total cost of attendance of each school you have applied to. You should know a couple of new key financial aid terms, and you should be able to confidently review your financial aid offers in order to make an educated financial decision on what college you will attend. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, we're just going to do a quick review of the financial aid timeline just so you have a better understanding of when all of this is happening throughout the year. So typically, and this depends on the year, the FAFSA form will open between October and December. The FAFSA, again, is the free application for federal student aid. And it's very key part of this financial aid process. So make sure you are completing that. Our next step here, we see that the priority deadline for the FAFSA is typically March 1st. That's very important to keep in mind. If you're able to complete your FAFSA before this day, it just can potentially expand your aid offers, and it also makes sure that your colleges can send you your financial aid award letters in time. So once you have submitted your FAFSA, sometime between January and March, and this depends on which application deadline you have applied to for each college. But sometime in this time frame, you should receive your financial aid award letter. This is often sent through the mail, or potentially through email, or potentially is just uploaded to your student portal. So make sure you're checking all of those things and just keeping an eye out for that financial aid package during that time. After you receive your financial aid award letter, take, that next set of time here, typically sometime between February and April, to review your financial aid award letter and compare your offers from each school you have applied to. And at the end of this video, we're going to go over a couple of tools and worksheets you can use to actually do that. And then once you have all of the math broken down, you know exactly how much each school is going to cost. You will typically enroll into your college or university of choice by May 1st. And again, this date might fluctuate just depending on the school, so make sure you are aware of that date as well. So first things first, what is a financial aid award letter? A financial aid award letter is a document or letter that each college that you apply to will send to you that includes information on how much each college is offering you in grants, scholarships, work study, and student loans. A financial aid award letter will also often include information on how much the estimated 1 year cost of attendance is at that school.
Next, we'll go over some terms you need to know. Cost of attendance, or COA. It's an estimate of what 1 full year of school will cost. It includes tuition along with housing, meals, fees, books, and more. Check your school's website for a detailed COA. Next is Student Aid Index, or SAI. That's an index number the U.S. Department of Education and schools use to determine what types and how much financial aid you could get. The amount you actually pay may be different. Types of financial aid you might receive. Scholarships and grants. That's free money that you won't have to pay back. Seriously. Work study. Money you can earn by working a part-time job through your school. Lastly, there's loans. Money you can borrow that you will have to pay back with interest. And just a side note on loans, there are subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which will be placed in your financial aid award offer packages. Equation to remember. Your cost of attendance minus your financial aid equals what's left to pay. Do this equation for every school on your list. If you still owe money, you may need to use savings, private student loans, or other sources to cover the difference. Don't just pick the biggest offer. A small financial aid award with more free money may be better than a larger offer with more loans. Why? Because you'll have to pay back those loans with interest. Read the fine print. Before you pick your offer, pay attention to the conditions. Some types of financial aid may be renewable and some may be for 1 year only. Also, some scholarships might require you to maintain a certain GPA for the entirety of your college career. Most importantly, choose what works for you. You don't have to accept all the aid listed in your financial aid offer. Pick the types and amounts of aid you need and make sure to respond before the deadline.
Now that we have gone over some key financial aid terms as well as some top tips and tricks when it comes to reviewing these and accepting offers, let's review an actual example of a financial aid award offer letter together. So let's take a look at this example financial aid award letter. Typically, schools will send out these letters again, maybe through mail, through email, through a student portal. But you should be getting a similar type of letter from each of your schools in terms of what information is being provided. They're all going to look very different. Some may look similar, but just for the purposes of today, we're going to be using this example. So you can see here at the top, it should say the name of the college or university, as well as that identifiable student information. So you know this is the correct offer for me. And you should also see the award year that this offer is for, which if you are a current senior, that's going to be for 2025, 2026. So we're just going to sort of go through each of these sections. And then on the next slide, we have an actual sort of math breakdown of what those actual costs are going to be for the student. So in this first section, we can see the cost breakdown for this particular college. This includes the cost of attendance and the direct cost and indirect cost. We can see that this school has really laid this out pretty well. We have our section for costs payable to the university. Again, that is going to be the direct cost. And then directly beside of that, we have other estimated costs. Those are those indirect costs to the student. Some of the items under the direct cost include tuition, the fees, housing, and food. And then those estimated costs, very important to note here, these are not costs that are directly due to the college. And again, it is an estimate, it's based on an average. So they have come up with an estimate for books and supplies, for transportation, and for miscellaneous expenses. In the next section, we can see the scholarship and grant offers laid out here. If you look down below, you can see the federal Pell Grant. There's a federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. There's a state grant, a merit-based scholarship, and an institutional scholarship. So they lay out all of those institutional and federal grants and scholarships for you. And often schools will break that down by semester. Typically, that's going to be just the annual amount divided by two. So we can see they've broken that down for each semester. And these are all of the free aid options. So this does not include any of those loans that a student would potentially be paying back. Directly below that, in that orange section, you can see the estimated net price. They get that by taking the cost of attendance and subtracting the scholarships and grants. Directly below that is where we have the self-help aid. And for this student in particular, they have been offered two federal loans, one being the subsidized loan and one being the unsubsidized loan. This just gives the student that option. If a loan is in your financial aid award letter, that does not mean you have automatically accepted it. That does not mean it's automatically going to be taken out in your name. But that is just so you know that you have qualified for that federal grant or that federal loan, and that is an option to you. In this green section, we can see where the school has actually taken the estimated net price and subtracted the loan offer amount from that number, which has resulted in $4,021 being left over, which are not covered. That is the amount not covered by scholarships, grants, and loans. And then at the very bottom, this school in particular, puts a section for other self-help options. In this case, the student has been awarded a federal work study in the amount of $3,000 per year. So again, this is just another opportunity for the student to receive money for school. It's important to note that a lot of schools will not necessarily take that dollar amount and use that to pay for your tuition or other direct costs. Oftentimes, that money goes directly to the student, just like a typical job. So, that is definitely important to note whenever you are reviewing your financial aid award letters. And then in this case, on the side, we have some really great resources and information for students. Hopefully, your colleges include some of this information as well. But we can see they have a list of additional aid options for students to help pay for their school. And again, this is very helpful, but it's not always included. And also, on this letter, there is a little section for next steps. I feel like this could easily blend in, so make sure you are thoroughly reading over all of your letters, all of your financial aid offers, and look at those next steps. So, in this case, the student would need to accept or decline all of their aid. That includes the grants, the scholarships, and the loans. So, very important to make sure you are reviewing everything and being diligent when looking over your financial aid award letters. Now that we have taken a look at the overarching letter and the layout of the letter, let's actually do some of the math breakdown here for this student's individual aid offer. So the costs payable to the university, again, those are the direct costs that includes tuition and fees and housing and food, equal $28,040 for this particular school. The school has also given us an estimate of $3,476 for those indirect costs. And whenever we add the two, we get $31,516. This is the total cost of attendance for this school. As you can see on the page, we're going to use the acronym COA for that. So just know when you see that, that means cost of attendance. So after the actual cost of the school, we see the total grants plus scholarships for the entire year that the student has been offered comes to a total of $21,995. Whenever we take the cost of attendance, which again is $31,516, and we subtract the total grants and scholarships, which equal $21,995, we get a net price of $9,521. So this again is the direct cost plus the indirect cost minus the grants and scholarships. Whenever we take that net price and subtract the loan offer, we get a total of $4,021. So if the student in this case were to accept all grants, scholarships, and loans, the total cost outside of those aid offers that they would owe to the school would be $4,021 for the 2024-2025 school year, which was the aid year for that financial aid award letter. Now, if we look up here in the top right corner, I have actually taken the direct costs, which again, $28,040, and have subtracted the total grants and scholarships, which has brought me to $6,045. So those indirect costs are not what you are actually paying to the college itself. That is not an actual bill that is due. We can sort of find out exactly how much you would owe to the school itself by just using the direct costs. So again, in this case, just talking about tuition, fees, housing, and food, when we subtract the grants and scholarships, the student would then owe $6,045 for the entire year. If that student does accept the loan offer of $5,500, the student would only owe $545 for the entire year to the school for those payable costs. So you can see when you sort of break it down differently, you can come up with some different numbers that really might help educate you on your college or university decision.
And lastly, let's go over an award letter comparison worksheet. So different schools have different resources. Financial aid offers can vary greatly from school to school, as we may know. There are several components of an aid offer you can consider and compare, such as direct costs, indirect costs, scholarships and grants, loans and work studies, out-of-pocket costs, and so a tool like such can allow us to compare what each school is offering you. So let's break this down a bit. A financial aid comparison worksheet like the one here can allow us to easily break down your numbers and what your cost of attendance would actually be for each individual school. So looking at the first column, we can look at what your gift aid is or free money. That would be your scholarships and grants. And then these columns allow us to easily see which scholarships are renewable and which aren't. And then after looking at your total gift aid for each school, you can look at what your net price would be, which is your total cost of attendance minus your total gift aid. And then looking at any additional income that you can take away from that cost of attendance could be things like work studies or loans, which fall under the self-help category, which are additional sources and hours per week, or if it were loans, it would be source and interest rates per semester. Then after looking at that, you'd get an actual outstanding cost, which is your cost of attendance minus all your offered aid. Um, and then let's not forget about those deadlines and next steps, which vary from school to school. Those can change just because payment plan setups and fees can also vary by school. And then comparing those at last would help you make your final decision. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Bye!